On September 11th, 2001, 19 members of Al-Qaeda hijacked 4 commercial airliners, crashing 2 into the World Trade Center.
Terrorists flew a third plane into the Pentagon while the fourth flight crashed in a field in Pennsylvania after passengers courageously fought back against the hijackers.
NTD's Andrew Thomas spoke with a volunteer firefighter who was on the ground that day when nearly 3,000 people were killed.
Tuesday morning, New York City, September 11th, 2001. Volunteer firefighter Rob Weisberg had just arrived at the World Trade Center when a bang cut through the calm, clear skies.
I thought it was a car bomb. Okay. The explosion was really loud.
Like most New Yorkers, Weisberg didn't know that Al-Qaeda terrorists had crashed American Airlines Flight 11 into the North Tower. But then he heard United Airlines Flight 175 accelerate right over him before hitting the South Tower. Several minutes later, he looked up to see fighter jets, thinking they were another wave of attacks. But then he saw a star on the side of what he realized were American military aircraft.
I'll never forget the lead pilot, his helmet was white. You know, for them to be that low and coming that fast and to have such clear visibility on these guys was pretty crazy.
Weisberg headed across Lower Manhattan's Liberty Street to FDNY Firehouse 10. He set up triage and began treating over 40 people. Some injuries were severe.
But then I had one individual with a broken pelvis. I had one woman who was caught in a fireball. Okay, so she was severely burned over majority of her body.
Weisberg asked to join the search and rescue efforts, but the fire captain told him to keep treating patients.
And I remember being a little disappointed that I wasn't going across the street because I figured that would be a good spot for me. And I remember watching those guys go across the street, 8 guys, and they all got killed within the next 5 minutes in that first collapse.
The debris from the collapse flooded the firehouse. Weisberg says it felt like someone was pouring sand down his throat.
At that point, it was just like I said, we're suffocating. We can't see our hands in front of our face. And just like keep working till you drop. Do the best you can. Hold your breath as long as you can.
Before he knew it, one of the plane's engines came through the roof of the firehouse, crushing an ambulance.
I thought it was going to be like a bowling ball just coming through and, taking people along with it.
Weisberg couldn't see anything, but he had a mental layout of the firehouse. He managed to find a door which led to an emergency exit and guided people into the alley behind the building.
I get to the back wall where the door is, and I'm feeling around, and all of a sudden I'm like, I'm feeling hinges. So, in my head, my training, hinges tells me the door opens towards me.
In the years following 9/11, Weisberg has endured post-traumatic stress. He says when people have something like a heart issue, everyone talks about it. Not so much with mental health.
And I say to people, the brain controls everything else. So the one organ that controls everything, that's the one organ you can't talk about. If you're having a problem, it doesn't make any sense.
He says he's found some solace in being outdoors, so Weisberg embarked on a 2,200-mile journey across the Appalachian Trail. He teamed up with nonprofit Paws of War. The organization helps veterans and first responders by rescuing, training, and adopting out service dogs. He hopes to continue to raise awareness and funds for those impacted by PTSD.
I just want people to walk away with the idea that forget about any stigma, it shouldn't be there, and get help, whatever the situation is.
When asked how he and other first responders were able to keep their composure on that catastrophic September day, he simply responds, "It's what we do." Andrew Thomas, NTD News.